Dead Rising burst onto the scene in 2006 as a wildly original survival horror experience that still feels fresh today. Players control photojournalist Frank West, a slick and smarmy reporter who sneaks into a quarantined American shopping mall on a 72-hour mission. There, he finds a massive zombie outbreak and virtually unlimited ways to fight it. Capcom's zombie-slaying masterpiece quickly became a cult classic, praised for its demanding time management gameplay, its tongue-in-cheek tone, and a crazy arsenal of improvised weapons. Even years later, Dead Rising is remembered as one of the defining games of the Xbox 360 generation, thanks to its level design, over-the-top combat, and sheer difficulty. There really is nothing quite like the original experience.
72-hour mode, time pressure. The core game gives Frank only 3 in-game days, 72 hours, to solve the mystery and escape. Every mission has a deadline, and players must juggle main case file objectives with optional tasks and rescues. This relentless clock creates real urgency. If you miss a meeting or run-in, it changes the story's outcome. Finish all the case files in time and you unlock overtime and then infinity mode, where the time limit is lifted and you can simply roam and wreak havoc. This balance of timed goals and free exploration is unique to Dead Rising, making every playthrough feel like a frantic race through a toy box zombie nightmare.
Prestige points and photography. Playing Frank West means embracing his camera as a weapon. Every time Frank snaps a photo, he earns prestige points, or PP, that function like experience points. The game automatically scores each photo in one of 5 genres: horror, zombies and gore, brutality, violence, drama, outtake, humorous scenes, or even erotica, scandalous shots of female survivors or zombies. This means catching a horde of zombies in one shot, rescuing survivors mid-fight, or framing a goofy zombie fall can rake in big point bonuses. As Frank's PP adds up, he levels up and improves his strength, speed, and health. This RPG-style mechanic turns Frank's camera into a core gameplay tool. It encourages players to explore, find photo occasions, and create memorable shots of the horror unfolding around them. Yes, even the infamous upskirt zombie shots were originally a cheeky PP trick.
Improbable arsenal. One of Dead Rising's most fun features is how everything in the mall can become a weapon. There are over 250 items scattered through the shops. Baseball bats, hammers, pipes, shotguns, chainsaws, forklift blades, and even children's toys. Pick up a frying pan and fry zombies on the grill, or heat it on a stove first for extra burn damage. Some weapons are downright absurd for laughs. A toy Mega Buster that fires tennis balls, traffic cones you can force onto a zombie's head, or a vacuum cleaner that slurps up undead guts. These less lethal gadgets exist purely to make players grin. And on top of that, Frank can combine many items. The later games introduced official combo weapons, but even in the original, the sandbox lets you jerry-rig your own. The sheer creativity of turning everyday mall knickknacks into zombie-busting gear is unforgettable.
Zombie Sandbox Playground. The Willamette Parkview Mall itself is a character. It's enormous. Multiple floors packed with stores, a food court, a cinema, a play area, offices, and a haunted house. And every quarter is bursting with secrets. Players can wander freely, especially after the main story, and experiment. Want to clear out the arcade with grenades? Go for it. Seek out hidden ninja suits, Mega Man armor, or a secret katana? The mall rewards exploration with cool findable items. Frank can even change clothes for protection or style. As one fan put it, the freedom to go anywhere in the mall and use anything you want in combat was a revelation. This improvisational freedom, combined with the ticking clock, turned Dead Rising into a sandbox of chaos.
Dead Rising's story reads like a B-movie script, and it knows it. The plot takes some classic zombie cliches, an infected town, a military quarantine, a mad scientist, and plays them for both thrills and chuckles.
Frank West himself is a blast. He's a sarcastic, wisecracking photojournalist who loves reminding people he's covered wars. He teams up with unforgettable allies like Otis the janitor, gentle giant and makeshift mentor, and DHS agent Brad Garrison, hard-nosed federal agent, then faces off against over-the-top psychopaths, deranged survivors who've snapped and now hunt Frank. Each psychopath encounter is a wild mini-boss fight, complete with cheesy cutscenes and ridiculous weapon loadouts. Even in the darkness, the game keeps a grin on your face. For example, one boss is an elderly man who shoots Nerf darts, another is a survivalist who triggers a bear trap on himself. Yikes! These scenes are horrifyingly scary if a zombie jumps out, but also hilariously absurd. As one retrospective notes, Dead Rising delights in mixing serious storytelling with over-the-top antics. Frank might be hunting down the Santa Cabeza drug lab or racing to disarm a mall bomb, but he'll do it by smashing zombies with traffic cones and making snarky quips along the way. The writing and dialogue are full of wink-winks. It never takes itself too seriously. In short, the narrative is memorable and fun, blending genuine dread, flesh-eating insects, zombified children, and global threats, with dark comedy at every turn. Dead Rising was born from a bold vision at Capcom's Japan studios. During development, it was actually planned as a sequel to a samurai game, Shadow of Rome, but the team decided to go in a completely new direction. They knew they wanted something very Western, an all-American setting aimed at appealing worldwide. So Capcom designers rewrote the story, created new characters, and picked a setting straight out of an American horror movie, a big Colorado shopping mall. They openly cited George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, famous for its mall zombies, as inspiration, but stressed their game had its own spirit. In fact, Capcom insisted that a mall zombie story was generic enough to be free and legal. Importantly, the devs also wanted fun first. They pitched Dead Rising as a zombie game that let players do anything, go crazy with creativity, rather than the methodical fear of Resident Evil. As the lead team said, they chose a more comical view of zombies, making the horror bigger than life. This philosophy shows up everywhere, from the satirical media commentary, fake mall ads, news reports, to letting Frank juggle chainsaws and still complain about his sore arm. Technically, the game was also built to show off the Xbox 360 hardware. Reviews noted that hundreds of zombies can swarm the screen at once, creating a genuine onslaught feel. All these choices, the Western setting, the humor, the crowd of enemies, were deliberate. Capcom wanted Dead Rising to feel like a wild American horror flick, complete with cheeseball tropes and explosive fun. Almost 2 decades later, Dead Rising's legacy is clear. It has influenced countless zombie and open-world games, even if none have quite matched its exact style. By turning a survival scenario into a giant playground of ideas, it showed developers that surviving a horror can be as fun as it is scary. The game's signature mechanics, time pressure, photo quest scoring, insane weapon combos, and sandbox exploration paved the way for other action horror hybrids. You can see its DNA in games like Sunset Overdrive or All Zombies Must Die, which also emphasize wacky weapons and style. Critics and fans today still speak of Dead Rising in reverent tones. One writer calls it one of the defining games of its console generation. Even after sequels and imitators, Dead Rising feels unmistakable. As another review puts it, there's still nothing quite like the first time you play it. Its cult status is cemented, not just by sales, but by how fondly people remember running around that mall with baseball bats, snapping photos of gore, and yelling, "Bunch of zombies!" into the night. For a new generation of players and returning fans enjoying modern remasters, the game's creativity, chaos, and charming bravado remain irresistible. In sum, Dead Rising is a love letter to zombie carnage with a time bomb ticking. It set a standard for how to combine terror, comedy, and freedom in a video game, and it continues to inspire anyone brave enough to face 800 of the undead, armed only with a scooter and a grin.